The moment you've been waiting for is finally here. Don Lemon is back with a new show. Mr. Lemon posted a note to X sharing the new Don Lemon show will be airing on Twitter soon. The former CNN anchor wrote that X is the largest free speech platform in the world and that space for honest debate is needed without the hall monitors. And with Don in, some other prominent accusations are out. A purge of the accounts of several major journalists has taken place on Twitter. Those suspended from the app include Stephen Zetti of the Texas Observer, Ken Klippenstein of The Intercept and friend of the show, blogger Rob Rousseau, journalist Max McLeod, and the account for podcast TrueAnon Pod. Notably, these are all left-leaning or overwhelmingly left-leaning sources that have been very critical of the siege of Gaza of late. One Twitter user called it the night of elong knives and commented that Twitter seems to be purging leftist accounts. Glenn Greenwald also weighed in, saying multiple other X accounts suspended in the last couple of days, several of them large and influential, including well-known journalists. The one thing they have in common, they've been harshly criticizing Israel since October 7th.
Let's start there and then circle back to the fun stuff. Very concerning, demands obvious explanation. People should not, given what Elon Musk has said about him wanting Twitter X to be a place for free speech and open dialogue, saying that was a major motivation in him buying the platform to correct the censorship problems that he helped expose that were going on relating to election integrity and COVID policies and all of that, all of those speech violations that occurred when government actors kind of forced themselves on content moderators that he had set out to correct. This is obviously in tension with that and must be explained and should be, frankly, corrected unless it seems totally unbelievable that these accounts, all of which have a similar ideological persuasion, actually violated some tangible policy and didn't just tick off Elon for political reasons or whoever the person ultimately making these decisions. It needs explanation and correction.
I mean, look what we know about Elon Musk. We saw that Elon Musk, after saying some vaguely sympathetic I won't even say sympathetic to Palestine statements, just kind of practical statements about how unrealistic it is to think that you're going to bomb Hamas or any resistance group out of existence. He was invited to fly to Israel. He had this big sit down with senior officials there and Benjamin Netanyahu and came back wearing Israeli dog tags, pledging to make the statement from the river to the sea or characterizing Israel as a colonial project, disallowed and bannable behavior on the app. Now, it doesn't seem like that has happened. I personally have tweeted along those lines. I've seen other people tweet along those lines and seemingly have not been banned. But these are huge accounts, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of follower accounts that have a great deal of traction, that have been very engaged in the ongoing Twitter meltdown from Bill Ackman, who, of course, as we know, was one of the people leading the charge, a big Harvard donor who was leading the charge against having Claudine Gay removed from her post as president of the college. All of these people have been very much engaged, and specifically because of that debate and because of obviously the ongoing siege, in critiques of Israeli foreign policy. And it seems to, I think, be an irreducible conclusion, an unavoidable conclusion that there's a relationship between the politics of the people who have been canceled and Elon Musk's own commitments to align with Israel from a policy perspective. Well,
yeah, sure. And it doesn't matter either way. It seems inappropriate to me unless some actual justification can be. I'm not inclined to believe a justification if one is offered. It might be that these accounts, because there are a lot of accounts, including yours, very critical of Israeli policy. It might be that these people specifically have written articles or that were criticizing not just Israel but Elon. Now that's no excuse because he says it's a free speech platform. So he needs to clarify whether that remains the case, and I hope we get some answer soon.
The last thing I want to say on that is I do think that there is a tendency with Elon Musk for people who support him generally or some aspect of his the Twitter files to not hold him to the standards that he purports to defend. Mm-hmm. And the more he gets away with that, whether it was, remember, Bari Weiss got kicked off of the Twitter Files project because she consistently said, hey, Elon, you can't ban accounts that are reporting on the Elon Jet story simply because you feel like that's a negative story about you. So we know that he has acted vindictively in the past. We know that he has acted in a way that is self-protective as opposed to by some general principle. We heard him ruminate about whether or not to bring Kanye back or Alex Jones back and make decisions on the basis of his own personal tragedy, saying, well, Alex Jones is a bridge too far because it was about killing children and I lost a child.
Or my least favorite alternative, bringing people back in accordance with the results of a poll. That is by far my least favorite way to do content moderation. Popularity contest for the users, that is totally at odds with free speech. Look, I've defended him. I think some of the criticisms he's gotten, look, it is difficult to simultaneously run a business that has advertisers and that is monitored by these third-party hate speech checking organizations, and that is also facing all sorts of demands from various governments, including the U.S. government and including governments that that do not respect free speech whatsoever. So I think it can be a difficult task, but this is a very clear-cut example. And
also, don't hold yourself out as a free speech platform if at bottom you're just a media company that's trying to make money. And it's a good lead back into the top story here, which is that Don Lemon is joining in part because he's averring that Twitter is one of the last spaces of free speech that will allow open dialogue on the internet. He's saying that as he's coming to Twitter, and I think it begs the question whether or not what Twitter is cultivating here is not actually a free speech platform, but a platform that allows certain kind of views, liberal, democratic, establishment views like Don Lemon's, and won't allow progressive leftist views that are actually challenging the military-industrial complex and American foreign policy in meaningful ways. And I think we also saw this with Elon reneging on his promise to offer an equal platform to all of the presidential candidates, including Marianne Williamson.
Yeah, I wish he would give Marianne Williamson a platform. I was not exactly clamoring for a Don Lemon news show. I don't think you were. I'm not sure a lot of people were.
Linda Yaccarino seems to think that people were clamoring for this.
But you know what? I would certainly watch some kind of Avengers-style meetup between him and Tucker Carlson, another person who creates content for Twitter. I think that would be entertaining, if nothing else. And you know what? Some things can just be entertaining without having any underlying news value. That would be just fine. We talked earlier that Tulsi is going to be joining the platform in some kind of way. Do you know what I did last month, Briahna?
What's that?
I did it. You can all say, we told you would eventually. I bought the blue check mark. I did it.
I think it's almost irresponsible for media figures not
I didn't realize you can, the whole sharing monetization thing. I mean, the highest subscription level only costs like $19.99 a month. And I immediately, from my tweets doing okay. I'm not tweeting. I'm just tweeting a little bit more than I was before. I got paid like more than that amount after 2 days.
Yeah,
so it seems easily. I don't know why everyone wouldn't do it, but
well, I don't have that kicked on. I didn't sign up for Twitter Blue. I always had Twitter Blue long before Elon Musk owned the app, so I just maintained my previous subscription rate. I do think it's interesting though to add,
it pays for itself. Secret tip out there: it pays for itself.
Depending on how many followers you have and how active
you got more than I do.
Is. Yeah, but for the average viewer, I don't know that it's going to pay for itself. But I do want to just bring into focus what Don Lemon's kind of countercultural perspective is likely to be. Remember the circumstances of him leaving cable news. It wasn't because he made some strident critique of the deep state. It wasn't because he criticized Joe Biden or any other establishment Democratic Party or Republican Party figure. It wasn't because he challenged corporate corruption. It wasn't because he challenged the captured nature of our political system. No, it was because he made some off-color remarks, vaguely sexist remarks about Nikki Haley and got into spats with his female co-host. And so I think that my prediction is that what we can expect is that he continues to run cover for the establishment in every meaningful way, but that he will be a culture warrior punching at wokeness and be very much on a Bill Maher trajectory where he feels very confident and powerful and strong for beating up on woke scolds while never touching any of the real red lines that got real journalists and real courageous people out here on Twitter canceled last night.
I appreciate more combatants in the war on wokeness, but we shall see where his editorial guidance goes. More Rising right after this.